A disturbance in the stew, I feel. New Jedi listeners. Strong they are. Subscribe they must. Yes?
Hello there.
Incoming transmission.
You will go to the Dagobah system. There you will learn from Yoda, Master of the Stew.
A Jedi's strength flows from the stew.
There'll be no one to stop us this time.
Strong is the stew.
Yoda. You seek Yoda.
Yes.
Hello there and welcome to Yoda Stew, the strongest stew in the galaxy. A Jedi's strength flows from the stew. This is your dedicated spot for all things Star Wars. I'm your host, Ezra, here to guide you through the latest Star Wars news, insights, and discussion from a galaxy far, far away.
Red 12 standing by.
Red 6 standing by.
Red 4, standing by.
Red 11, standing by.
Red 9, standing by.
Red 2, standing by.
Lock as foils in attack position.
I have a bad feeling about this.
And you thought they smelled bad on the outside.
Friends, come on in. Yoda's fire is still crackling. Warm yourself. Grab a bowl. We've got a lot on the menu today. I am here with my Jedi apprentice, Padawan learner, Lecky, not to be confused with Jackie. Just kidding. It's Lottie, everybody. Welcome to Mustafar. Question for my Padawan learner is it hot in here? Do you think it's hot?
I mean, it was, but you turned on the fan so high that I'm actually
You're
on
freezing.
Hoth over here.
I'm telling you. So we laughed when we started the intro because we say Yoda's fire is still crackling, and I was like, dude, turn the fire down, man. I am sweating profusely over here. I've had the if you watch over on Spotify, we get the little, the video version. Had a rag around my neck to start. It's what is it? Blistering 79 degrees or something. Seriously.
People in Florida are like,
come on, Ez. Are you serious right now, dude?
boo-hoo.
Just get over it, man. Come on. No, I mean, seriously, I can't. I don't do well. I don't do well in the heat.
I remember that. That's one of the first things you told me.
Right? I told you, I was like, we're going to Costa Rica.
Right.
We were going to meet in Costa Rica. I was like, I'm going to be just pitting out the whole time. The whole time.
But you weren't. It was good.
No, I was good. I was relatively good.
Adjusted.
Yeah. Remember when I used to get the keto sweats? You remember that? Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's a real thing, by the way. Gosh. That's just so you guys know. Ez talks a lot about anyway. What are we talking about? I'm sorry. I'm off the rails.
It's hot in here.
It's hot. I am burning up. So apologies. But hey, welcome in though to Yoda Stew. We are here covering the Acolyte episode 1 and episode 2. It is 10:55. It's 10:55.
But hey, no school tomorrow.
No school for us, so we stayed up late to do this one. We're excited, but we're gonna start. We're gonna start with. I got a lot to say about this show. I got a lot to say.
I can't wait to hear it because we didn't really talk about it yet.
Nothing.
It's our, like you say, raw reaction.
Raw. Even
though it's already kind of cooked because it's so hot and
right. It's boiling. Yeah, the reaction is boiled. It's well boiled over. So, but we're going to start with, if you're just listening, you're like, hey, look, I can't listen because I haven't seen it yet. And you want to check back in later in the week, what have you. No problemo. We are going to start with a non-spoiler review. So to my Padawan, I'm going to toss this to Lottie real quick. So we'll give this like a 30-second rundown of just your initial thoughts. I think I know what you're going to say, but I'm not quite sure because we both sat there and laughed at certain things. And we both were kind of like, what? For certain things. So what'd you think? I mean, without spoiling anything, couple adjectives to describe episodes 1 and 2. What do you think?
Well, first of all, we went into this, and I went into this for the first time, like really hearing some of the, the mixed bag of reviews.
Oh, yeah, true.
And I tried to be like, okay, whatever they say online already about it. I try to go into it with a neutral kind of expectation.
Yes.
And honestly, it was good because it was entertaining. It did the job. And I, as you probably know, I'm not a long, what do you call it?
Like a lifelong
Star Wars fan.
There you go.
Have not been a Star Wars fan since I grew up, but I'm a Padawan. I'm learning. I'm watching more and more stuff, and to me, probably different things are important to me than they are to you or other Star Wars fans who have been in the fandom for a long time and have grown up with all the movies. So yeah, I mean, for me, it was cool, fun to watch, cool costumes, interesting characters. There's a
Yes.
mystery that needs to be solved. I mean, that's not a spoiler. Everyone knows that.
Right. Right.
So I'm
Enjoying
ready
it?
for the next couple of episodes. I'm actually like intrigued, but I know there's supposed to be some stuff that's going to change everything. So I'm interested to see what that's it. But so far, the first 2 episodes, I had
Yeah.
fun watching them.
Right. I know the first 2 episodes. So, okay, full disclosure, we did watch a couple. I mean, just they pop up on your feed, and it's typically the negative stuff. Let's
Yeah.
just be honest. It's typically people who are like, they're gonna be absolute
Yeah, it's not
trash.
perfect. There's some things we chuckled at because
Oh yeah, there's some things that were really ridiculous. We will
Yeah.
go over the good, the bad, and the ugly,
right.
as well.
But overall, it was fun to watch. Yeah.
It was. Yeah, the first 2 episodes I thought were enjoyable,
Yeah.
Interesting, and you had to kind of just get over some of the awkwardness. There's a little bit of an awkwardness, I think,
Mhm.
to start it, but in general, I felt the same way. So I feel like non-spoiler, just to go ahead and say, it's like a solid 7.5
Yeah.
or whatever, right? It's like out of
Right.
10. It's really a decent start. Feels pretty good. Costuming looks cool, and
Yeah.
I like the actors a lot.
Mhm.
And there we go. Well, then I kind of leave it there, and we'll get into it. But we have heard that like episode 3 is going to be different. We've heard everyone who went and saw the first 4 episodes is like, wait till you see episode 3 and 4. It's crazy.
Yeah.
The stuff that goes down is crazy. But I'm like, wait a second. None of you guys have really seen, 5, 6, and 7 or 8. Like, we don't really know what this is going to be. So I
Yeah.
caution people to hold their horses and
Right.
just enjoy it. See if you can enjoy it. See if you can
Right.
find something good in it. And if it's not your thing, it's not your thing.
Right.
Totally fine. But yeah, so there we go. Non-spoiler review is what it is. Pretty good. Chuckled at a few things, which we will point out to you guys here in just a little bit. So yeah. Okay. Let's start with a little breakdown of what this was. It opens up with a really cool. So we're going in full spoiler here. Episode 1. We'll give you a summary for episode 1, discuss that. Then we'll go episode 2, quick summary, and then we will kind of dive into our thoughts. Okay. So let's start with 1. It starts with this idea. So it says 100 years before the rise of the Empire, it is a time of peace. The Jedi Order and the Galactic Republic have prospered for centuries without war. But in the dark corners of the galaxy, a powerful few learn to use the Force in secret. One of them, a lone assassin, risks discovery to seek revenge. Now, that's interesting because, I mean, we can talk about that. We'll come back to that in a second. Why
It's interesting rereading it again now after watching the first 2 episodes.
Right.
So I have a thought on that, but
yeah, for sure. So, real quickly, and I might butcher this. There's really no good like little condensed summary out there, so I'll give you guys like a 30-second thing. But we start off with a character named May who is assassinating people and flat out kills Master Indara with a dagger, which is going to be controversial, I think, for some people. We'll talk about the controversy in a second, but she's on this quest to kill Jedi to seek revenge. She does so. They go to Master Soul on Coruscant. They're like, hey, this Jedi is matching the description of your former Padawan. They go to the Padawan. The Padawan's like, that's not me. Long story short, we find out that this person, they're twins. Yeah. That there are 2 of these sisters who it seems like were separated. It seems like there's some mystery behind how one went to the Jedi Order and one survived, but they all thought was dead. Yeah. It's really strange. So anyways, yeah, the episode kind of follows that sort of idea that they're going to bring this Padawan in, question her, and then while Master Soul is out and about, he's going to go kind of figure out other disturbances, other sort of assassination attempts on other Jedi. So I don't really remember exactly where to stop for episode 1. So that's where we'll go right there, and then we'll see. We'll jump into episode 2. So episode 1 thoughts real quick. There was some quirkiness. Let me pull up my notes here on my phone because I think we both took a bunch of different notes here. Starts off on a new planet, Ueda. Yeah. Ueda, is that right? I think it's where's Ueda. Ueda. Cool planet. Yeah. And that's where we meet Master Indara. And what'd you think of the first Jedi Master that we meet, Master Indara? Did you like her?
Pretty cool. But I mean, we didn't get to know her very well. It was a cool fight for sure. But
I'm bummed.
I don't know. Yeah, I know you're sad that she's already gone, but yeah,
she's already gone.
I know it's a common like how do you open up a show, right? And they chose to do that with an action-packed fight that would draw you in. I'm kind of sad to I don't know. There's different ways. Like people complain if you show too much in the trailer.
Yes.
And then people complain, oh, you only showed the first scene and that was your trailer.
Right.
So I'm gonna do exactly that now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like
we saw
okay,
it all
thanks for the trailer.
Thanks for the trailer.
Which was the first
2 episodes.
2 minutes.
Yeah, it was.
Really,
yeah, it was.
of the first episode. So I don't know. I thought this was more already into the story, and we already have a little bit of background knowledge. But no, you dive right into the fight. It's the opening scene, and May keeps asking whenever she attacks a Jedi, "Attack me with all your strength." That's what she said to Indara, and that's what she said to
Master Torben.
Torben, yeah. Later. But yeah, attack me with all your strength. It's not like I'm trying to. To me, an assassin is someone who tries to attack you silently out of the shadows. You can't see him. He's very stealthy, right?
Right.
Like a hobbit.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so we just got to watch The Hobbit too before this.
Right.
No, true. It's sort of like we're they start us off with this like a assassin risk discovery to seek revenge.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call this individual an assassin.
No.
Right? She
definitely has some techniques to kill somebody, but to me, an assassin, again,
would use stealth and wouldn't announce themselves, wouldn't walk up and say, "Hey, come after me." You know what I mean? Just pound her. Let's go.
Almost like, you want them to fight you to show, like, does she want it to be a fair fight by asking them to fight and use their full strength? Is that part of the trial she's going through?
Right. It feels like it's this mixed bag of she's being tested, or she has to complete a task in a certain particular way and report back to her master and tell him that she did this and that in this particular order or whatever. But it's also like she chose particular people that she has a vendetta against, that she has this revenge, tour that she wants to kind of go on with these 4 Jedi. So there's a personal aspect as well as like she's trying to gain favor in her master's eye. And to do that, she has to follow a specific sort of sequence of killing them. She has to kill one of them without a weapon.
Right.
Which we'll kind of keep coming back to. So yeah, I don't know. It's it is an interesting way to start this whole thing off with this. Just show up, announce yourself, and say, "Hey, let's fight."
Yeah.
Let's go. Question for you though. Do you think, and I don't, because you have the poster behind you and you have Master Indara there as a main as a main figure in this whole thing. So is she gone? Are we going to get any more of Master Indara?
Well, like you said, there might be flashbacks that we get because it is all revolving about this around this mystery in the past. So we probably get some scenes from back then.
Because in the trailer, I think we have seen her and Master Soul kind of show up, and he presents a lightsaber, I believe, to one of, it must have been May, or sorry, oh my gosh, I just forgot. We've been saying May for so long. Osha. Yeah.
I mean, I think it would be very weird if she somehow survived now after they all kind of went after
she's dead.
May/Osha. Yeah. Like, I think she is dead. So I think the only way that she comes back is either in a dream or in a vision or in a flashback.
Yeah. Okay. Because we do see another clip of her in the trailer, so we must get a big flashback, and we go back and see all the sins committed by these Jedi. That's what I'm guessing.
Yeah.
So why? My God, this is going to be, this one might, and I'm going to sound like an absolute grumpy Star Wars fan, which I am not.
Yes, please give me the grumpy Star Wars fan for a second.
For a sec, I'm not though. I'm really not. I know what people are going to complain about, which is how did this acolyte untrained kill a Jedi? I think she's a master Indara. How did she kill a Jedi master with a dagger like that to the heart? And Sabine survives a lightsaber thrust. All these people are surviving these like actual lightsaber to the abdomen area, and people are going like, well, I mean, it hit her in the heart. So,
And maybe there's something special about her weapons that is not apparent.
Maybe
right away.
Yeah.
She also used, she used the Jedi's major weakness because the master was trying to protect an innocent life down there. right?
True. Yeah. I mean, for sure, she did a great maneuver in terms of distracting her and getting her to focus on someone else and then striking. Yeah.
Mhm.
So caught her off guard, which was very clever, very assassin-like, for sure. I think it's just the fact that,
But yeah,
like,
it was not. I mean, not the a good move, but not a great move to kill a master, right? With
yeah,
I don't know.
you almost wish. Yeah. Anyway, so I just know people are going to because
Tell us, what do you wish?
huh?
You said you almost wish.
Almost wish it would have hit her in a different spot. Like, I hate to
Yeah.
say that, it sounds gruesome, but it's like it is though. It hits her in the heart. So
Yeah.
what are you gonna do? That's where you got. I mean, she's dead. I almost couldn't believe it though. I was like, what? Because
You were expecting more of her.
yeah, I
like,
was
more
expecting a more
screen time and
yeah. So I didn't really believe it at first, and then I was
Yeah.
like, okay, I guess she's dead.
yeah.
You know, it's this slow kind of.
Do you think if they
Death, I
hadn't
don't know.
used her so much in the trailer and everything, and on the poster, do you think like you wouldn't have had a problem with her death?
I don't know. Maybe. They kind of though when we were going through and they were talking about where was this? I think I saw the synopsis when you go on Disney Plus, it sort of tells you that a Jedi is killed in episode 1. And then they are going to track down like that another one. I don't know. I just didn't think it was going to be her.
Okay.
For some reason.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway.
You're disappointed.
Yeah, I just wanted her to be around longer, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, this kind of sucks, you know, that we're, you know, she's
Oh, we
gone.
shall see. Maybe we get more.
Yeah,
of
we're
her
gonna get the
later.
flashback for sure, but that's all good. Okay, let's see other sort of notes here and things just to kind of move through. I feel like there's a couple references, like there's a spy reference.
Mhm.
So there is like as soon as this whole thing starts, there's a spy who like she passes some coins to that as she's trying to like where's the Jedi?
Yes.
Right? Do you remember that? So
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool. There's
Where's your Jedi? Didn't she say where's your Jedi? That's what kind of threw me off. Why would it be your Jedi?
Did she say
Maybe
that
the Jedi on the planet, you know, it feels like every planet where they went to so far has a Jedi temple and they're like guarding this city.
Right, they're on an
planet,
outpost
whatever.
or
Yeah.
they're posted
Maybe
there.
it's the Jedi on that planet and she's just in a bar.
Kind of like
or
a
in
marshal, kind of like a
Yeah.
sheriff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you. Okay.
Maybe.
Well, so it made me think of that little spy there of Long Snoot, which is this sort of like spy figure that's in episode 4.
Okay.
And yeah, he's basically got this long sort of like elephant trunk nose,
Yeah.
these black glasses, and looks similar to that little spy figure. So I thought, oh, that's kind of cool. This is just somebody else. Quick little reference, a little tip off that hey, where's the Jedi? Where are they at? Where's the main character we need to get to? So yeah, I thought that was neat. And we get in the fight. The fight was cool though. I think the fight was cool. I just think the only thing I had a problem with was the ending, just sort of the death there. And I was like, oh, that's kind of a, kind of a bummer. But let me pull up here as you look through your notes real quick. I'm going to pull up Disney Plus just so I can kind of scrub through this while we're talking about it. What notes did you have on episode 1?
Okay, so they go after Osha because the description matches her perfectly.
Oh, yeah.
And no one is able to confirm that Osha was on the ship that night, so they have to kind of take her with her. We're just like, okay, I guess she has her room on that ship, and maybe she was alone the whole night, so no one can vouch for her.
That is kind of weird, though, that they just show up and it's like, hey, we have this guy who can identify you as being there.
Right.
But this whole crew is like, we've been working and running a cargo shipment. There should be like a log.
Right.
Did she jettison off?
There's cameras probably on the ship.
Yeah, that was a little forced and felt a little odd. I guess that's sort of the awkwardness that I'm kind of talking about, which is it felt like
okay, we need this for the story to be like that, but didn't think it through too much. Anyway, she was she was fixing something in space. Fire broke out. And it's one thing. Okay, we are now with science fiction. We're so used to seeing explosions in space and whatnot. But
right.
Having an actual fire break out in space just doesn't sit right. It was so weird.
Right.
Like fire can't. It doesn't. No.
Right. I know. And I will.
And it's just to remind to get that connection of she stares into the fire and is reminded of
a tragedy.
You know, her tragedy, her biggest tragedy in her life. Yeah.
Exactly. Some sort of fire. Her family.
Was that the only way to show it?
Yeah, I wish the fire could have been inside the ship, but it's okay. I get what you're saying, though. Here's something, though, that in episode 1, for example, she is serving the same role as R2-D2 in episode 1, like going out on these ships and
Yeah.
fixing their
Sure.
shield generator.
Yeah, she has a mini droid who does a lot of things
Pick.
for her.
Is that the droid's name? I think Pick or whatever.
Yeah, I think
Reminds
so.
you of Pickett.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah. So she's out there kind of fixing some of the shield generator stuff, and that's really what R2D2 was doing in episode 1. I believe though there was a little bit of a fire in episode 1
on the outside of the ship.
I think there was.
I'm sorry then.
I think there was.
Again, I know there is explosions and there's no. That's just.
Oh no!
The
It's
world.
just you can make fun. Like I mean,
It's
for example, people were like, I remember when I think it was The Last Jedi, there was laser cannon fire, right?
Yeah.
And instead of going like straight like right at the ship, they did these lobbing lasers.
Yeah.
These lasers were like they were like dropping in, and people were like, how would that work in space? Like, how does that? And so that's always the thing. You have to suspend.
Right. And it's not about like perfection and everything has to be scientific, right? It's fantasy. So it's sci-fi, but it's also fantasy. So
yeah.
Whatever. It was just funny.
Lottie was just sort of like, there's a fire in space, like full on, you know. Hey. But it does serve as that trigger that I guess her sister set fire. So to kind of jump around here, we'll learn later that her sister set fire to, I guess, their family's house or something, and they were killed. We kind of learned some of that in episode 2, which we'll get to. But anyway, let's move on to one of the surprises of this show, which is Yord. Golly, Yord is something.
Every time
else.
he entered the screen, we were just laughing.
Yeah, I really was. So Yord Fandar
ridiculous.
And his Padawan Tassi Loa. I really cool, interesting. They've got their white robes, and he just walks in. He's ready to use Jedi mind tricks. He's ready to do all these different things. He's the first one to pull out his lightsaber all the time. We catch him. Jackie is sort of like, Yord, like, really, we're bringing Yord on this. Like later on, she's questioning she's a Padawan questioning this knight.
Yeah.
And you actually get from Osha, like, Yord, when she meets him, she's like, oh, what's up, Yord? And she's like, you made it. You made it through the trials, as if he maybe wasn't going to make it. You know? They're kind of like, I think it's kind of neat that they're doing this thing where it's like, maybe not everybody gets through.
He's a little bit, sorry.
No, just that not everybody gets through. It's a hard training. He's a little bit like what?
Like a Sokka character.
Yes, he is like a Sokka. You're right. Yeah.
Because, I don't know, he seems like he thinks highly of himself.
Right.
But not everybody thinks that, and he kind of has to still prove himself, I think, throughout I don't know. He just reminds me of him a little bit. Even though, like, I'm not saying he is like Sokka. He just reminds me of Sokka before everyone roasts me before.
I think Sokka's pretty cool. So actually, I mean, we have nothing but fondness
the comic
for him.
relief, you know.
Yeah. He's pretty funny. Later on, I think Jackie's one of my favorites, by the way, too. I was I think we were gonna talk about our favorites in a second, but she's one of my favorites. And so her talking back and forth with Yord is just really, really interesting.
Yeah.
So they come to confront him, and what'd you find?
I'm just getting into names right now a little bit because I just read the name Soul and I was like, hang on a second. Soul. I used to take Latin in school, and Soul, S-O-L. I remember that means sun. It's the Roman god personifying the sun, or the Greek counterpart is Helios, a poetic word for the sun, and we have this whole theme with fire going on. I don't know. It's just
I got you.
Interesting
Trying to find
his
clues.
name would be, close to something fire, but I don't know if that's actually a thing.
Yeah.
Since we have a mystery going on, just something to keep in mind.
Yeah, no,
okay?
I'm with you.
And then May means, and this is just Google, if you type in May meaning first entry, it would tell you that it means goddess of spring growth, or sea of bitterness.
Whoa.
Or pearl. So bitter or pearl.
Sea of bitterness makes a lot of sense for her character right now, because she seems really bitter and been out of shape about something. She's definitely tracking down Jedi and killing them. She's on a revenge tour. So
I thought it was interesting.
Cool. Other cool things that I thought were interesting. The budget we know is like double the Kenobi show, which has been in the news here recently. People have been talking about how big the budget is, and you can see that. Actually, I think it's a visually stunning show.
It is.
When you go to Coruscant, I feel like that was really cool to be back at Coruscant and see them there kind of at the Jedi Temple, and Master Venestra Rowe there, and she's got the green skin. She's one of those.
She's a character from Legends, right?
Yeah, no, not from
Sorry.
You mean like no? You're fine.
The books?
The books.
Yeah.
High Republic, which is
okay. They don't count as legends.
right.
Books.
Canon.
Gotcha.
Canon. Yeah,
Oh, whoa. Okay.
Canon.
I
books.
learned something new.
Yeah.
I thought they were all legends books because they're not in the main Skywalker movie.
Yeah, it's
saga.
really confusing. There's like old books. So any book before 2014 is considered legends. Any book after 2014 is considered canon.
Okay.
So she's from the books that are after 2014, if that
Yeah,
helps.
and I remember you were plowing through some of the books from the High Republic. Just a couple of weeks ago. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just to kind of get caught up on things. So, the rest of this. So there's the full. Oh, this was kind of ridiculous. So another thing where I kind of laughed. First of all, Venestra is a little. I don't know. I'm just gonna go ahead and say this. I thought I was gonna like love Venestra and she's gonna be like awesome and everything. But right now I'm kind of like, Venestra, what is up? Why are you? She seems too.
I don't know. It's all about what I wrote down. Sorry,
What'd you say?
before you
Yeah.
say it, discretion.
Discretion. Oh,
don't tell anybody. We can't let that leak out because our enemies will see that as a weakness. But, don't let that leak out to the public.
Right. She's almost like
a little nervous.
A little nervous about stuff and cautionary and just I don't know. We don't really. She seems not cold, but just different than what I expected her to be.
You would say it's kind of out of character. You remember?
Well,
her
a little bit because
different?
just in the High Republic, you have her as a much younger character, and she just has a lot more. This is an evolved, hundreds of years, a couple hundred or at least 100 years later. So she's old. She is much older. And yeah, she just seems a little different to me. Like her, gonna be interesting to see her kind of come out and. I know she's going to have the lightsaber whip and stuff. We saw that in the trailer. Yeah. She has this lightsaber whip, which is really cool. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I just thought she was kind of standoffish and a little distant, and that's probably just going to be her character. I didn't expect it. So we'll see. Right. Nothing bad about that. Just different. So who we love is Master Soul. I mean, Master Soul is really cool. He's
absolutely.
I think, yeah.
Would you say he is your favorite Jedi so far?
Absolutely. Yes.
So.
And the fact that he has Jecki is also super cool. So
they're a great team.
Right. Very likable. And you've got a master and Padawan. You've got that dynamic. That's what made episode 1 so great was Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon and that whole master apprentice relationship. So them exploring that more here is I think just really neat. Like when in episodes 4, 5, and 6, you really just got a few moments with like Luke and Obi-Wan. Yeah, really, it was just a few moments here and there. I mean, I know that Obi-Wan's in it for quite a bit, but in episode 4, and then he goes to train with Yoda for a little bit. But there are these sort of, I don't know, 5, 10, 15 minutes of just him training with Yoda, and then he goes out and does his own adventure. Whereas, like, this master is continuously with his apprentice, the same way that Obi-Wan was with Qui-Gon. It just feels like there's more of that, and they kind of explore it a bit further, and it it just is, I think, really interesting. So yeah, Master Soul and Padawan Jecki are epic. I love them.
I agree. Now. Same.
Yeah. Now the thing that I thought was kind of crazy was the I know I'm gonna get a little bit of grief for this, but how does she not have a scratch on that shipwreck?
Osha, yeah. After that
was crazy. This
crashed.
Ship like there's not a scratch. It doesn't seem like there's a scratch on her, and so I think there's just little things like that that feel a little awkward, and with the budget you're like, should she have maybe hit her head and been bleeding a little bit? Just I don't know, maybe not. She's force sensitive, so maybe because Yord I think there's more to it though. Yord walks on and says there's no way anybody could have survived this crash, right? And she does. So the fact that I think at first I was kind of like getting on myself, like, don't be nitpicky like that, and don't be pointing these little things out, but I'm like, maybe they're important actually, Maybe there's a reason that there's more going on with her than that makes sense.
Oh, yeah. Come to think of it, I have a question for you. Master Soul says, I can feel that she's alive. How?
Yeah.
Like, isn't there a distance thing with, like, connecting to your Padawan? Or is it the better you know each other, the bigger the distance can be, and you can still kind of feel each other's presence?
Right. Yeah. I think a lot of times, sometimes they could just be saying that, and it's really a belief
thing.
I
just have a gut feeling. Like
I have a gut feeling. But I do believe more so, especially in the High Republic, they did a lot in the books, which is just like, I would know. Like, they could tell when someone was alive or not. Like, for example, Starlight Beacon when it's crashing in Stellan Geos. Spoiler, by the way, for people who haven't read that book. It's been out for a while, so skip ahead 30 seconds here. But
it's your fault
you haven't read it yet. So he goes down with Starlight Beacon, and the other people can feel it. They can feel sort of when he's gone, sort of. And before that, though, and even when I think there's a moment where Avar Kriss is like trapped, this is another Jedi in High Republic. She's trapped behind enemy lines, and you've got Elzar Mann, who's sort of like, I can feel she's alive. Yeah. And they have a force bond, like this connection that I do believe stretches across, space, and they can sense one another. Luke and Leia had that as well. They could tell, they could connect through their minds, and they could speak to each other across great distances. Now it was just on one planet that they did this, but in Legends they could do it in greater distances. So I do believe he does know that she's alive.
Yeah,
and he can kind of tell that. What's interesting is that they're so all deceived on both sides. It's like the Jedi don't know that May's alive. They have no idea, which is sus. My students would say suspicious, and then you have.
even Sol believes that she seemingly believes
that they watched her die.
Yeah,
that's what they say. Like, we saw her die, right? And you're like, okay, shoot, something's up.
And then he tried to save her, both of them.
Right.
Both kids.
So I would say, and then for May, like May doesn't believe that Osha is alive.
Right. That was interesting.
Yeah. Why does
the next episode?
Yeah, second episode. Kind of bounce around. Sorry. But yeah, so just really weird that this whole mystery behind what happened with these twins.
Right.
So we'll come back to that in a second. We'll do that next episode 2. But the crash landing, anyways, was just sort of like, wow, how did she survive that? There's more going on here that we just don't understand. Yeah, I guess.
What did you think of the Jedi Temple? How it was portrayed on? You said Coruscant was really cool. Did you like the little scene with the Padawans?
Yeah, I was gonna, because I don't do it on the podcast, but I do go afterwards, and I do get a little nitpicky. I'm like, because I want to know, did they? It's 100 years prior to what we see in Phantom Menace. The Jedi Temple looked a little different to me. It looked a little like, I don't know if there was some build up around the base or not, or if it was exactly the same. I mean, the spires and everything looked the same, and the top of it. I just thought, it just looked a little bit different to me. I wanted to go kind of check some reference images, but it looked beautiful. It looked great. It looked really cool, and I think
it is believable that something can look different 100 years
ago. Yeah,
I mean, think about it. What we're in 2024. Things look like in Mount Vernon,
right,
or in Berlin.
Yeah, I guess
1924. Very different,
right? Very different. I think what it is I want to go see what changed, because when you're looking at it, you're like, that looks a little bit different.
It's
what is different?
Interpretation,
yeah. Like, what did they change? What was the? I see, because I used to read these books that had the. Oh my god! It actually just pulled it up here. Just in front of me, I have the video. It just looks, it sounds ridiculous. It looks like it's got a bigger base at the bottom or something. I can't explain it. But anyway, I like to look at those diagram books that show you the inside of like starships, or the inside of like a Jedi temple like this, and show you where everything sort of is, where are they doing?
Supposed to be the main temple, right?
Yeah, in Coruscant.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. For sure.
Checking.
Yep.
So Yoda could be somewhere in there.
Yoda's there.
Yoda's alive.
He's alive. He is right there. And you made it, beforehand, you were like, is Yoda alive? And I was like, yeah, Yoda's alive. And then you had to ask the question, is time reference wise, like, when is this? And you were like, is Yaddle alive? And I'm like, Yaddle's still alive right now, but
it's just cool to know, cool to think that Sol and I forgot her name. She seems to be the leader.
Venestra?
Right Venestra.
Yeah.
That they know Yoda, and Yoda is one of the
yes.
master in there.
Remember when we were reading the High Republic books? I think that was the cool kind of connection back to the prequels. Is that Yoda
at the end?
There.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yoda shows up, and they all still have this reverence for Yoda and this respect, and he's still super powerful and stuff. I think they need to be real careful about showing Master Yoda a lot in this. I don't think they're going to. I think there's gonna be like
I don't
one
think
or
so
two.
either. Like a reference, maybe mentioning him. That's all they need to do. But they don't even need to do that. We just know he's there. That's
he's
cool.
there. He's there, which is good. So he is there, as well as a few other older masters.
Because sometimes it does feel forced, right? Like let's drop his name in there just so we all know. Okay, Yoda's here.
Just referencing his name is cool.
Right.
I'd be fine with that. You don't need to show him or anything. I think we're good. I'm fine with Yoda not being in this at all. But if he does show up, I'll also be like, wow, that's really cool too.
Yeah.
depending on what happens. I'm sorry, sounding grumpy. Yeah, so the temple looks really cool, and it's definitely looking good. Their robes are so different. It's like
I wrote that down as something positive.
Really? Positive? You like their robes better?
I like the golden. Yeah, he's wearing it right now. The golden yellow look of it, I think it's cool.
Yeah.
But I know it's different for what you're used to.
And it's fine though. I think you'll see more people wearing these now at Star Wars Celebration and stuff.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, it's gonna be something that you could cosplay as.
It's a little bit like, Hogwarts Legacy. They changed the look of the robes there too.
Yeah, for sure.
Versus, when Harry Potter is
styles change, like you said. I mean, things 100 years ago, obviously they should look a little bit different. And this was sort of their golden age.
Yeah.
Right. So this
is
sort of
there you go.
Right. Golden age of the Jedi, and pretty neat.
What was interesting about that scene, with the kids though, when we saw that in the trailer, we thought, oh, this must be a flashback, because that little girl could have been. I mean, from what she says about the fire, she talks about what do you guys see when you close your eyes, and she's like, she sees fire and wasn't in some destructive way.
Yes.
And then when Master Soul kind of reinterprets it as, like the Force takes many forms or something like that.
Yeah,
like
he talks
fire
about
or water,
the ocean.
Yes,
right.
The ocean, right?
It's this vast and
another thing later with his Padawan, she asks him, why do you keep records of OSHA, your old Padawan? Shouldn't we should, aren't we taught we should dwell on the past? And he says something like, if we don't learn from the past, or we have to learn from the past, or we'll kind of like, we'll repeat mistakes.
Yes. Yeah.
What do you make of that?
Well, I think that's interesting. I think, Jackie seems to be like a really good student.
Mm-hmm.
She seems like really by the book, like master, this is not what we're supposed to do. Reminds you of Obi-Wan actually a little bit. And whereas it's like he has some sort of regret. There's definitely something that went wrong.
Yeah.
And I think there's some sins that were possibly committed by these Jedi. I'm not so sure how guilty Master Soul is in all of this. I feel like he knows it happened and maybe hasn't spoken about it, but like didn't contribute to it or something. So I'll get into that more later as I get into some of my predictions at the end of the episode. But he definitely has. Yeah, there's something he's reflecting on, and he has an attachment to this child who he saved. And he even says, she saw Master Indara and I as her saviors, as these protectors. She would not come after us and kill us. That this just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And he seemed to have a very good bond with her. And he wants to bring her in. He wants to go reach out to her. He saves her at the end of this episode when she's falling, right, with the Force and everything. So, yeah, I mean, he definitely believes in her, and she wants that. And Jackie is sort of like, I'm your Padawan.
Right.
It's, you feel this a little bit of like, is that Padawan? It's not supposed to be like this, but I mean, and Vanestra kind of points it out, is that like she could tell that Master Soul still had some sort of attachment to his old Padawan. And she's something like, I didn't know your attachment was that great, or that it still was there. And if you can't let those things go, that's the same thing that Jackie is kind of scolding,
pointing out
him for. But his response is amazing to reflect on that. And he's
she's like, okay.
Yeah. And it makes sense. And maybe there's more to it. Maybe he's being sly. I'm not sure. Or giving her a partial truth, but still it's believable, and we'll just have to kind of wait and see. But I love that she did question him about that. So, okay. For the rest of episode 1, again, we just go, we track her down. She gets out of the ship, and she has this weird vision. So when she crashes, she has this vision with her sister May, who's a little girl who leads her out, and she follows her out, but then she re-wakes up back in the ship.
Yeah.
And a part of me for a while, and I don't know if I'm wrong or right about this, I mean, it seems like it almost seems like, I wonder if their minds are linked in some way. And
well, but May thought she was dead though.
Yeah, she did. Yeah.
You think she made that happen?
Something's going on.
I wonder since we don't have insight on May, but I wonder if May has dreams like that too.
Right.
Just dismisses them as, well, yeah, they're just dreams.
Right.
And
they've thought for so long that each other is dead. Yeah, it's weird. But that's where I was kind of made a joke in my notes. Like, okay, so she gets up and she goes off the ship, and I thought, okay, she's not a scratch on her. And then when she wakes up, I expected to see like blood and a scratch on her. No, she's still just as good as she was before.
Yeah, I know.
I'm like, well, all right, whatever. So yeah, there's that weird sort of trippy dream thing happening, and she's tracks her down, and then she rolls out. She even has a vision of the fire. Actually, she has a little bit of a vision of that fire. The trees are all burning, and it's really quick. And she's again sort of following her sister, and her sister's eyes go black. Like her little sister in this vision, they just go black, and then she like freaks out and wakes up real fast, which is crazy. So, and then to wrap up that episode, let me see here. Yeah, so Master Soul saves her. All is good. And I want to read this at the very end because I was a little bit confused by it. At the end of episode 1, we have this there. It's identified in the captions as a stranger. Okay. And it's the individual with the red lightsaber up on the cliffside as she's walking along the shore there. And the stranger says, the Jedi live in a dream. So again, she's just walking through there. And he says, a dream they believe everyone shares. So the Jedi live in a dream that they believe everyone shares. Okay. And it's weird because we had this dream sort of thing that she was in with her sister and just visions and stuff. I feel like this is going to get a little bit trippy as we go throughout the season. If you attack a Jedi with a weapon, you will fail, which I guess means fail the test or something, right?
Or you can't attack them with your, I mean, they know how to defend themselves
against a weapon. Yeah, it says steel or laser are no threat to them. Steel or laser are no threat to them. But then he pulls out a freaking lightsaber. So
while he's holding his weapon.
Right. But he says, but an acolyte kills without a weapon. And I'm like, okay, so that's interesting. An acolyte kills the dream. So you guys help me make sense of it. I don't quite understand what it's saying or what we're getting at. What I thought was kind of going on, if I think that this is a Sith Lord, and I think that this is a trial of some kind, that they have to go attempt. And she says later on to her friend in the next episode that one of these kills has to be without a weapon.
Right.
So she did kill Master Andara with a weapon, steel. And she then is going to make another kill later on with poison, which we'll get to in episode 2. And then she tries to attack Master Soul without weapons for a moment. And then she starts throwing daggers. Because it's like, how are you supposed to do that? And an acolyte kills the dream. I just don't know exactly what it's about. I do know, for example, Vader, when Vader had to go, Vader was not given a lightsaber or like a red kyber crystal. He had to go fight an individual. And ironically, he goes and fights somebody who has taken the Bayrash vow.
Yeah.
So we see Master, and we'll just kind of get into episode 2 here a little bit. The next Master that she goes to face has taken that very vow. And she's actually, so there's a cool connection there to the Vader comic in which like this individual is taking the same vow as the individual that Vader goes and kills to get his lightsaber and his kyber crystal. Yeah. Okay. So I think that's one of those, cool little connections that she's making to comic books. And I'm wondering if this is sort of a test where it's like, you have to, that's Master Torben, by the way. We're talking about Master Torben now.
Impenetrable.
Master of meditation and defense. I mean, that is freaking wild. That's one of those things that's like, he's so in deep meditation.
He's in the spirit world
that the Force 100% has protected him.
Yeah.
So it makes you kind of wonder, is it just that the Acolyte wasn't strong enough, or could anybody not attack him? Like, would the Force have not allowed anyone to attack him in that state? Do you know what I'm saying?
Good question.
Is that how far they're going with that? Like, could a Jedi have swung a lightsaber, or would the lightsaber have rebounded against the Force?
Yeah.
It feels like that's what would have happened. Force lightning. If you force lightning Master Torben and he's in that meditation, is anything going to happen? It felt like it was I don't know if there's limits to it.
I think there is. If you are of a certain level, I think you can break. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But
otherwise, I'm like, teach that technique to everybody, because
he seems to be. They said he's been like that for 10 years.
Right.
So maybe it takes 10 years or at least like 5 years to build up that kind of defense through your meditation practice. I don't know. And at first it seemed a little bit ridiculous with like the whole thing. Okay, she just has to, I know it's fast forward a little bit, but
we're in episode 2 now, and I'll give you like a summary here in a second. But yeah.
Oh, you will? Okay, give us a summary first, and then
Okay.
I'll talk about it.
Okay, yeah.
Then...
Basically, so as this starts, we see her second kill. The second kill is Master Torben. She comes in, tries, as we just said, with the defenses, doesn't work. She sneaks into a Jedi temple. I think they're on, I forget the planet right now. Pull it up here. But she seeks him out, attacks him. It doesn't work. She goes back to her friend, which his name is...
a new character, yeah.
Chimere, I think, like something like that. It's
I didn't catch that. They didn't say it.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, it's Qimir.
Okay.
I don't know how you say it, but so anyways, she is meeting with him. He gives her the poison, and then she comes back, and basically Master Torben willingly drinks the freaking potion.
Right after he learns it's May. He's been waiting for her, and then it's interesting. It's all connected to what she says to him. Either go face the Jedi, or you can... What did she exactly say? You can not redeem yourself, but something in a positive... She puts a positive connotation, almost like get relieved.
Oh yeah,
from
basically
whatever you're suffering.
Yeah, that by offering that poison,
yes,
that was the relief to his suffering.
Right.
Yeah,
and it's interesting because I think Chimere, her friend, when she goes to him to say, no, there's no way he's impenetrable, right?
Yeah,
and her friend says, no, there is a way, and he kind of implies everyone has a weakness, right? And this is all about and I don't know, maybe this connects to the whole dream thing, but what's the vision, what's the dream of the Jedi is peace, right?
Yeah.
And he says something, peace is a lie. Peace is something... That's
the Sith code right there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you were saying that peace is a lie. And very interesting though, the whole opening line starts with 100 years before the rise of the Empire. It is a time of peace. The Jedi Order and the Galactic Republic have prospered for centuries without war. So I wrote down the question, is peace just the absence of war? And was, that Jedi Master who was in his meditation for 10 years, or who's been in that meditation state for 10 years, and that's probably to you a definition of, okay, he's at peace, right?
Yeah.
But then this girl shows us that's exactly his weakness. He's not at peace. So in some way they're saying, okay, in this particular case at least, they're right. He wasn't at peace, even though we thought that he was, and it was a lie.
Right.
Seemingly right now.
Yeah, so he has taken... Oh, it does. Yeah, so he's taken something called the Bayrash Vow, which was an oath taken by the Jedi who completely refrained from all activities related to the Jedi Order as a form of penance, right? So they're repenting in some way for something that they've done. So they're disengaging from anything but the Force itself, and they're committing themselves to gaining ultimate commune with the Force.
Almost like when you're dead, that's what you do, right? You become one with the Force, and it seems like they're so close to it. They're still alive, but they're getting close to that state of being one with the Force.
Yeah, I mean, then a part of that is like, they've done something, they've committed some sort of sin that has brought them to the edge, and they're going to kind of repent, and this is their way of stepping away from all Jedi activities and all orders, and they're taking that vow to go be in deep meditation like this for 10 years, and they don't speak, they don't talk, they go in isolation. Kind of wonder if they don't have to be meditating like Master Torben. I don't think Torben was literally hovering there for 10 years. But
at least he hasn't spoken to anyone. That's what one of his
colleagues
says.
His colleague says, hey, he hasn't spoken in 10 years to anybody here. So, but he does probably go in there and goes into these deep meditation states.
Yeah.
It feels like and seems like Kel Naka is the same way. Kel Naka, we'll see, is the Wookiee Jedi later on in the next episode, who is out isolated, far away, and
in the jungle.
Yeah, just doing what? I mean, is it like posted there just to be, again, the sheriff of that planet, or is it just, why is Kel Naka out there? So anyway, seeking some sort of peace, maybe.
That's what May's friend says. Like every Jedi, he only thinks he's found peace. So I don't know if that's the...
Yeah. And it seems like they're really thinking more about these 4 Jedi, like they've really sinned in some way, and there's some sort of transition that they've got to make up for. And it looks like Master Torben was way more felt way more guilt for that
Yeah.
because he takes that vow. So it feels like he maybe committed a greater sin and he willingly takes that poison.
Yeah.
Whereas Indara is sort of like, oh, it's you, right? And she's still willing to fight and seems to be. Master Soul references Indara as a savior, as somebody who did save, not May, Osha.
Do you think Indara thought it was Osha and says it's you, or do you think she actually?
I don't know. Good
saw
point. Does
it
she think
as May?
that's May? Yeah, I'm
Probably.
guessing
I mean, I guess so.
because they all were there. They all know there's some tragedy and they believe May died. And so they're now, yeah, I think you're right. She probably is like, oh, this child who we thought died.
True,
didn't.
because she asks who
Who
your
trained you?
master. Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
it doesn't seem like this is because Indara was somebody who said she seemed to advocate against training Osha. That's what was said, is that Master Indara was maybe against Osha's training, or maybe saying, hey, she shouldn't rise to the rank
So
of
she
Jedi
could
Knight.
have had a
Beef with like this sort of vendetta
motive.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, for going back and killing Master Indara. But yeah, it ends up being May. So yeah, and then just the rest of that. So we go back and forth. We've talked about Master Torben. They then investigate the whole thing. They investigate her friend. They basically lay a trap, and we have Master Soul confronting May and tries to figure out what's going on there. And we end up with this Kofar kind of final scene where we go see Kelnaka. But I thought that it's very intriguing. So far, it is. I really don't know. I know a lot of people are kind of like, this series was hated on before by a lot of people. This happens in Star Wars. Like, it was already hated on by a lot of different people. And I'm watching the first 2 episodes going, I don't really know what there is to hate in this right now.
Yeah, like
it's not like overly, it's not the most amazing thing I've ever seen. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's really just okay. It feels like, it feels like we're in a galaxy far, far away. We've seen the Jedi. They're pulling out lightsabers, and
there's
it's
an
a
interesting
little
story behind it that you want to know more about.
Right. It's a little quirky. There's a few little
Yeah.
things with like her surviving the crash and other things. Everyone's gonna have a little their thing, their little I don't know, grievances or whatever. But in general, I mean, it's I feel pretty solid about it, So
Good.
yeah.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
Is there any, do you think they are doing this on purpose? And do you see any parallels with Osha, who stepped away from the Jedi? Any parallels to Ahsoka?
Oh,
with that
interesting
decision willingly to say, I don't want to be part of your club anymore.
Yeah, I have to go back and read that more closely. I thought for a second, I thought she didn't. I thought she didn't pass the Jedi trials, but I think you're right. I think it does say that she left the Jedi Order.
It feels like when she speaks to Soul,
when
she talks to him, that it was my decision. You're not my master anymore. I can do whatever I want.
Right. Yeah,
But maybe I got that wrong.
No, you're probably right. It's the first time we've seen it, so we just watched it once and popped over here on the microphones. I don't know what it is. I think you're right in that she did step away. That makes a lot more sense, actually, that she would step away and then hasn't trained for 6 years. This is like 6 years ago.
Yeah.
So interesting.
And it's interesting that Soul and her have such a deep connection, and Anakin and Ahsoka had a very close connection as well.
Right.
There was the tragedy, and it also tested Anakin's belief even more.
Yeah.
In the Jedi Order and
right. I wonder what it would be that would cause her to want to step away.
Right. Yeah.
Because then it feels kind of strange because she says like if she did willingly do that, then she's like, well, I had to come find something else to pay the bills. Where it's like, well, is she cool with that? It seemed like she was cast out of the Order.
Okay, maybe it did. Maybe
so we'll go back and check that. I don't know.
Could be, because remember when she was trying to use the Force to pull her droid thing towards her, and she was really concentrating, but it didn't work. Reminded you a little bit of Sabine, when she was trying so hard, like, and it didn't work. The Force wasn't doing what she wanted it to do. Yeah, maybe she was just not gifted enough for the Order to stay in the Order.
Could be. That's weird.
I don't know. We have to investigate more.
Well, it seems like her sister is way more Force sensitive, or way more trained talented, in the Force. So here's something else I just noticed as I'm scrubbing back through this, and we have to go back and watch this. I feel like a lot of what's happening on screen, I feel like there are little phantoms running around, because when you guys go back and watch this, if you have a second, do a rewatch before episode 3 comes out. There's a moment right before Master Torben is killed. We can see May already in there. And then we see the Jedi walking. They're asking, hey, they're all at the front door. We want to speak to Master Torben. Well, the way it's cut, we know she's already in there with Master Torben, offering him the poison. And he's saying, I've been waiting for you, May. And he comes out of his levitation and he sits on the ground and he waits for her. They have that conversation you talked about. As they go in to meet Master Torben, they're going to go the long way. But there's a little phantom girl that runs up the stairs that causes Osha to follow and break away. Remember when Osha is caught by Master Torben?
Oh, yeah.
Right? She's caught there, and you're like, wait, how did she beat them all
that?
There?
I thought it was supposed to be little May again, who was from her dream.
Yeah, but what's going? She's walking in regular, like it's not like she had passed out on the ship. On the ship, she had passed out. That was seemingly happening in her head, and she was walking in her mind, following a May and having a flashback.
Yeah.
This is her walking in literally broad daylight. Yord senses something. Freaking love that. I do love these little tiny Jedi moments where Yord's not a complete idiot, right?
Yeah.
He is keeping an eye on her. Yeah. He is very mindful, right? And he turns around. He's the only one that notices that Osha doesn't continue on.
Right.
So he follows Osha. But what was it that caused Osha to go up those stairs? A little girl.
True.
Little phantom. This little sort of like something that was caught with taking her closer to that scene, guiding her there. And this is where I think this Sith Lord or this dark individual is pulling the strings.
Yeah.
I think a lot like Palpatine was doing with Anakin sometimes, could be planting in some premonitions and some visions and could be distorting their mind and putting something in front of them that is guiding them to someone else. Or it's just this mental connection between her and May. But there's a reason that she like goes up those stairs. And I just saw it again. I'm like, whoa, that's why she went up there. But it's broad daylight.
Right.
She's walking and sees her younger self run up the stairs. That's weird. So there's definitely something going on with that.
Okay, I mean, let's talk about this master of hers that Soul figured out. Okay, you don't even know. You can't even tell us who it is even if you wanted to. And we have a picture also in the background here of him.
Right.
And tell me about the connection everybody makes with this mask thing.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like it's got these teeth on it, and it looks like it's got like this large smile. And I did a little short, by the way. We're still doing all the shorts over on Yoda Stew, YouTube and Instagram and TikTok. Go check them out. But I did a little short on this individual just to kind of ask the question, what is that, Matt? Is it a smiling? It's almost got this weird, like pointed teeth. I don't even know what it is. Like it looks like a smile, right? It looks like this elongated smile. And the only thing in Legends that we know that looks like that is an individual known as Abeloth. And Abeloth was the mother of the Mortis gods. She was just a mortal woman who ended up getting into the font of power and getting into all these other things and wanted to become immortal so she could always take care of her family, and she wants to be loved, and she's all about worship. She then grows evil and dark, and it turns out they had to imprison her, the Mortis gods, the father, the son, and the daughter. They had to imprison her in something called the Maw Cluster. And it's this sort of black hole, essentially, with these space stations around it. They imprison her presence there. And what's interesting in Legends is that she could actually, her presence leaked out into the galaxy. And because of proximity during the Yuuzhan Vong War, they had some Jedi younglings that they put in the Maw Cluster. They put them there for hiding. It was this, they didn't know. I mean, they didn't know that Abeloth, they didn't know it was a prison. They just saw it as a great place that like nobody's really going to go. We can protect our Jedi younglings and put them there. Well, Abeloth's presence leaked out into those younglings, and she got into their minds. And so later on in the Fate of the Jedi series, they go crazy. The Jedi start to go
known to play mind tricks.
Mind tricks, big time. She caused them to go crazy. It would not surprise me if there was an Abeloth-like sort of connection to this. It really would not. Not that it's going to be that grand, because this seems like it's a small scale kind of thing. This really, it just, to me, that individual looks like they studied the lore and maybe they learned about some ancient sort of deity or evil goddess
Right.
that they want to worship a little bit,
Right.
right?
We talked about like the Acolyte has a religious connotation. Is that correct? Because
Yes.
I've never heard before the Acolyte show came out. I've never heard the word
Acolyte. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Right. So someone who would be serving like a deity,
Mm.
worshiping would be an underling of sorts.
Yeah.
Think of it like an apprentice, but in more of it does have a religious connotation. Yeah,
okay.
for sure. And it feels like you've got the Acolyte, which is May.
Right.
But then you've got this Dark Lord who I think could even be like an Acolyte kind of figure for Abeloth or something.
Right.
Which is weird.
And her friend seems to be part of the club. He seems to be some sort of I don't know if he's an Acolyte as well, or her friend who gives the poison
or whatever his name is. Yeah, he
well informed about everything. He knows the master. I think he talks about he.
Yes.
Who is he?
Who is he? Yeah.
Right.
And he actually later on she gets ticked because she knows that he kind of gave her up, right? And that he told the Jedi where she was and who she was and what was kind of going on. And she walks up and like tries to stab him and he blocks it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, she's trying to kill Jedi masters and this dude is able to stop her from like hurting him.
Right.
And saying, hey, hold on a second. Now, maybe she's holding up a little bit because it's her friend. And she's just trying to strike some fear into him or something. But you're like, he seems pretty tough.
Yeah.
He seems mysterious and like somehow related to this, this whole bigger story. But the women and the witches that we see in the trailer, which it looks like somehow they're all related to, or it looks like May might have once belonged to. I'm not really sure. There's these women, these witches who look really crazy, and we see Jedi in black. Their eyes go black and they faint and pass out, and some crazy stuff's going to go down in the Acolyte. And I love that the creator, that Leslie kind of said, like, this is not going to be what you think it is.
Yeah.
So we're sitting here speculating all these different things
maybe
that it could be.
It's going to be totally different.
Because we've already gotten through 1, 2 of the 4 Jedi that need killed, and in episode 3, I feel like we're going to get number
well paced.
Right. If we killed, if we kill Kalnaka in the next one, I'm going to be a little ticked. Like, come on. I know we're going to get flashback with those characters, but I liked him. I was like, man, give me some Kalnaka. This is cool. I'm here for the Wookiee Jedi. Like, I was really looking forward to Kalnaka. Now
they haven't killed him yet. So
not yet, but I'm based upon episode 1. I'm ready for him to die next episode. It feels like they're doing a quick arc where they're just going to go episode 1, 2, 3, and 4 are going to be this mini arc. Yeah. And then it just takes this whole different direction that we never saw. There's no leaks for, there's no nothing, there's no trailers, there's no nothing. And I feel like they've hidden the last 4 episodes from everybody. Yeah. And we're going to figure out where all that goes.
There's 7 or 8 episodes.
I think there's 8.
8. Okay.
Yeah. So, there's something bigger brewing here. And that dark individual with the mask, it just has an Abeloth feel to it with the witches. And her being the great mother, and just this idea that maybe they would worship her, or that she had somehow, like, if their starship were near a prison where Abeloth was kept. I know the Ahsoka series is kind of setting us up for like what looks like the Mortis gods, the father and the brother or the son, pointing towards this sort of tower that Balin's skull is looking at. It might be where Abeloth is, but I don't know. I don't really know if that's the case or not. It just feels like there's something. There could be a connection here. That's all I'm saying. Just throwing it out there. It would be wild. It would be a bold move for them to do something like this in the Acolyte. I don't know they're going to go that far unless they do it something very, very subtle. But they've already brought in like the Barash Vow, and they've brought in a couple of different elements that I didn't expect them to bring in. And you've got the Jedi looking like they have sinned and committed a couple sins and that they need to repent for a few things. And they really did something wrong. I don't know how they could have, because it seems like they tried to save tried to save Osha, and then May, they all seem like they saw May die. Right. So was she resurrected was my question.
Right. You were,
because I think these witches have the power to do that. I mean, we know from Asajj Ventress and the Night Sisters, they can bring her back to life. So this could be an individual that was literally brought back to life and has been animated with some dark side power and energy, or feels like even just that resurrection means that she owes an allegiance to whoever brought her back, and she's out trying to kill these Jedi now. So it's just it's cool. It's a cool setup. I cannot have now. I'm like dumbfounded as to what everybody on YouTube was talking about for episode 3. I know, that's going to tick everybody off, and I'm like, what? I don't. I mean,
well, they weird. Also said the first 2-3 episodes, or no, 2 episodes were boring already. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, I guess if you expected something different, I'm not here to say you can't call it boring. If you expect something different, sure.
Right.
But I didn't find it boring. I'm very intrigued.
Yeah,
to
I'm intrigued
see
too.
the next couple of episodes, which
Right.
brings us to predictions for the next episode.
Yes, predictions. Okay, so yeah, I just want to real quickly say I agree with you. I don't think it was boring. I'm intrigued. I like Jackie. I'm telling you, I like the actress too, and I think she's really cool. And I also Master Soul, like I think he's sick. You know, from Squid Game, I was always excited that they cast him. I was like, this is really cool. Master Indara, super sick. Amandala's doing great. The lead, she's doing a great job. I like her more as Osha. I don't like her as May, which means she's probably doing a good job,
right?
Because she seems kind of like a jerk.
I think she is doing a good job. I think you can tell, even though May clearly has long hair. I think just from her expressions and how she moves and acts and talks, you can definitely tell who's who.
Right.
Like she does a good job at that.
Yeah, I want to shout him out. So Jackie, by the way, Daphne Keene is who she's been in, like Logan and a couple different things. What did we just watch her in? Oh my gosh, what was the thing? You remember, it was the dust, all the different dust particles. It was this weird thing. Daphne Keene movies. I'm gonna look it up real quick.
Was it a movie or a show?
His Dark Materials. And it was awesome.
We didn't just watch that. That's been like, what, 2 years ago?
Hey, it was a great show.
I was thinking like last week.
His Dark Materials.
It was a great
But the dust, I figured you would know from the dust, you know?
No, I was actually like thinking about dust, but like not. I thought about like.
Speaking of dust, good point. Yeah. Good point. Master Soul is definitely like the sand. I shouldn't call it sand. It's definitely a weakness of his because sand was used in a way that I didn't expect in that episode 2 to get away. So pretty cool. So we had Daphne playing May. We have Amandla Stenberg. Vanestra Rowe. We have Rebecca Henderson. Playing Master Soul, we have Lee Jung Jae. So playing Yord Fandar is Charlie Barnett. And playing Master Indara is Carrie Ann Moss. And playing Kalnaka is Jonas Sotomo. I think who's playing Master Torben was Dean Charles Chapman. So it says Tobin online, but I think they mean Torben. So we'll go with that.
Toby?
Master of Defense. Greatest Master of Defense of all time. Greatest Master of Meditation we've ever seen. Anyway, predictions you said, right?
Mm-hmm.
So moving forward, what do we think is going to happen? I think this is going to wrap up pretty quick. I think we're going to have... we've had this in episode 2. They didn't believe the other existed. May didn't think that Osha existed. Now Osha didn't think that May existed. Now that's over. And the sins are going to be coming forward. I think we're going to get an episode or 2 where we're going to get another assassination attempt. I believe maybe even Master Soul is the last one left. So I think I think Kalnaka will die in the next episode. Episode 3. Yeah. Because look at how quick you have Indara, Torben, and then Kalnaka.
But now they know that she's out there trying to kill him. They know. Why wouldn't they go and protect him? Or at least warn him?
He just tried, and she said, come back he said, we know where she's going next.
Right.
And Vanestra was like, we need to get our minds wrapped around this and come back to the temple. Right? So that's what I think that's what she said, right? So he's kind of like, what are you talking about? Like Master Soul's like, we can go get Kalnaka and stop this. And instead, Vanestra was sort of like, we need to get our minds wrapped around this and understand it. So Vanestra, I don't know. Hey, not so sure. I agree with all that. But so I believe Kalnaka will die. Now, after that's over, you have your first 3 episodes. Then in episode 4, I think it takes a whole different direction.
Mm-hmm.
I think it then takes off in flashbacks.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're going to go back and discover what happened in episodes 4 and 5. And then you've got maybe like 6, 7, and 8, where you can also tell a whole nother arc of like, I don't know, like where this is going. Come back to Master Soul, and how does he resolve all of this? And how does he, because they will confront that Darksider eventually. We see that in the trailer. The lightsabers come out and they confront that Darksider.
Right.
So it will be like a couple episodes. So next episode, Kalnaka's gone. We're going to deal with that. Mystery unfolds. They'll start to tell the tale of what happened back in the day. Things will come out maybe in a Jedi Council session. They'll talk about some stuff, some confession. Maybe Soul is the only one left alive who can tell others what really happened, and he has to tell all. And we have a tell-all moment, and then we go back into flashbacks for episode 6 or something. And then it's going to pick up with, like, well, how do we resolve this? And how do we find who this individual is? And who are these Darksiders? We send Jedi to go out and, you know, figure out what's going on. Maybe not, though. Kalnaka seems like there's a clip of him where he is also confronting those witches.
Okay.
So maybe Kelnaka lives a little bit longer than we think. That would be great.
Yeah.
Because I'm really hoping that that does happen. But I do think that May is trying to get that lightsaber, and she keeps trying to grab that lightsaber. So I think there is this like trial. We're going to find out that there is many people trying to become the new apprentice or the acolyte for whoever this current Dark Lord is.
Right.
And I think this is a Sith Lord. I think the big problem that a lot of people in Star Wars have is this idea that Ki-Adi-Mundi is like, well, hey, the Sith have been extinct for over 1,000 years. There's no way that, that they would be back or whatever.
Which they're already setting up, like, don't tell anybody. Just be discreet about everything that's happening right now. Don't
secrets. Yeah, so it does seem like they're trying to keep secrets and that they're trying to not let this leak. Is that what you're trying to say?
Leak out, yes.
Leak,
so
yeah.
Don't let this leak out, and especially like first it was just with that one incident, but now even though everything that's going to happen from now on, they still don't want. They are already dealing with something, right? So Vanestra said something about don't tell anybody, don't let it leak out because other people will take advantage of that knowledge against us.
Could even be senators. That could just be senators. That could be the public.
Politically, yes.
Politically, that could be actual enemies. It could be anything. It's super vague statement, so we don't really know what she's talking about. But you're right. The whole idea is that they've set up secrets.
Yeah.
And so there's this idea that the Jedi Council is keeping secrets and keeping information away from some of their younger junior members. And it feels like when you look at Ki-Adi-Mundi in episode 1, he's like, this is impossible. The Sith have been extinct for over a millennia, right? By the end, Yoda looks at Mace Windu and he's like, it is true. That is a Sith. And then Yoda says, well, he says that the Sith only operate in this rule of 2.
Right.
Always 2 there are, a master and apprentice.
Yeah.
And I did this whole short, and I've gotten a lot of interesting feedback online about this because I was like, well, how does Master Yoda know that? How does he know that there's this rule of 2? And I totally believe he does know it, and I believe that he discovered it, and I believe they hid that information. I don't think even people like Master Ki-Adi-Mundi knew possibly about the rule of 2. And here's why. Because Master Yoda, when he's born, the rule of 2 is established by Darth Bane. So you have Darth Bane. He then has an apprentice, and he basically, so like the Sith become extinct.
Yeah.
As Ki-Adi-Mundi thinks, 1,000 years, they become extinct. Now, prior to that 1,000 years, they weren't following this rule of 2.
Right.
So Ki-Adi-Mundi believes that they are extinct, done, and that they've been wiped out. Truly, people like Ki-Adi-Mundi believe there have been no Sith. No one has not returned. It has been peaceful. All is good.
Yeah.
But somehow Yoda knows that there's a rule of 2, which means that Yoda and other Jedi somewhere during that 1,000 years figured out we're wrong. The Sith have not been entirely extinct.
Right.
They've somehow learned about this rule of 2. Always a 2 there are, or this master and apprentice. And it could be that they're not really speaking about Bane and his rule of 2. It could just be that in general there's this rule of 2. But my whole point was it's like interesting. It sort of makes you think that Yoda and some of these guys might have suspected that there were some Sith Lords showing up here and there, because it's this idea that Ki-Adi-Mundi is so dumbfounded. Like, there's no way the Sith have been extinct. Like, we've not seen a single one. Like, they're not even, no way. But yet somehow, if they were truly extinct, Master Yoda's knowledge of them would be during a time where there were thousands of them, thousands of Sith Lords, and this Brotherhood of Darkness, and there was this Sith Empire, and like the Sith versus the Jedi, and these huge amounts, not just like 2.
Right.
In the whole galaxy, right?
Yeah.
So how does Master Yoda know that they're down to just 2 when like he's born during a time where he's actually born during a time when the Jedi are, or I'm sorry, the Sith are extinct. Let me say that again. Master Yoda is born during a time when the Sith are extinct.
Yeah.
Okay. So he should believe like Ki-Adi-Mundi. They're extinct.
Right.
But for some reason, he knows that always 2 there are, a master and an apprentice. And as Vanestra sort of shows us in this, there are secrets. They have secrets. They're keeping information. And I feel like that is something like Master Soul will sort of explain something that happened in his acquiring of May, or something that went wrong, or maybe they were fighting with these witches and they took one of their younglings, perhaps, maybe May. And because it says that May and Oda and their mothers. So like from Osha's perspective, May and Osha's mothers died. So is that really just that she had 2 moms, or did they mean plural, like all of these witches and this whole coven of witches, and they all
they call
died?
them mothers.
Yeah. And so to me, it feels like these Jedi went and they tried to destroy this coven of witches, and it's this black mark on the Jedi where they maybe went a little dark. Maybe they did commit some sins. Maybe they were kind of they just went off. I don't know. It could be something like that. It could be it feels like it's a dark secret.
Right.
Is what I'm trying to say. So any thoughts from you though in terms of like things that you think might be happening? Do you agree with that? Disagree with it? Or what are you thinking?
No, I mean your prediction was pretty detailed, and I think my only thought was that the Kalnaka character is probably, like you said, is going to live because May is still tried to attack Sol without a weapon, failed. So her only chance now is to try that on Kalnaka, and that might be his advantage, that she's not going to use a weapon. So maybe that's why he's getting away.
Right. Makes sense.
Somehow.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, and she keeps grabbing for that lightsaber. She did it with Indara, and she did it with Sol. She grabbed for both of their lightsabers. And I feel like it's like you have to try and steal a lightsaber, and it's another thing we're going to find out that they have to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
But she could have grabbed in.
I know it's almost, but when they're dead, I know what you're saying. Why didn't she just grab Master Indara's lightsaber when she had killed her? Why didn't she take it?
Yeah.
It's something about the code, because she references the Sith code. And I'll go ahead and read it to you real quick. So the code of the Sith. So peace is a lie. There is only passion. Through passion, I gain strength. Through strength, I gain power. Through power, I gain victory. Through victory, my chains are broken. The Force shall free me. And I think it's sort of this idea that there's this code, and you have to, there's some rules and protocols you have to go through in order to acquire your lightsaber. These tests of strength. Right. That you need to go through. And so she can't just take that from a Jedi, even though she killed the Jedi. It's almost like she had to take it in combat or something, right? Yeah. Why couldn't she take that lightsaber? But she is reaching for it during both fights, Master Sol and Indara. So there's something about weapons and how you strike a Jedi down and take their lightsaber. So anyway, all right. Well, I mean, there we go, friends. Went a little longer than I thought we were going to. Apologize for that. Apologize to Lottie for that, because it's late. It's past midnight now, so our bedtime. We still do have a midnight bedtime, and 13 minutes past. But we'll be back, though. Next week, we're going to be just one episode at a time now. So we had 2 episodes to kind of get through. Yes. Be a little shorter episodes. I will be doing some follow-ups here. I'm going to be hitting up some of my buddies to see if they're down to kind of chat. Lottie and I will always do our reaction episode, followed by maybe a guest. Throughout the week, we'll sprinkle those in if we have them. And I would love to get your guys' transmissions to YodaStew at 77. So YodaStew77@gmail.com. Send those in, and I'd love to read them on the show, or do some standalone sort of extra content for our patrons, or just an extra episode with your guys' thoughts. So if you have them, please send me that transmission, and I'll follow up. If I get enough of them, 2 to 3 even, I'll do one by Saturday, and we'll do another episode for you guys, just chatting about your thoughts on Acolyte, your predictions on episode 1 and episode 2. And possibly we may have a surprise guest next week. So see how that comes down. That's going to be an old friend of mine. Going to leave that as a secret just in case, but I might have a friend of mine popping back on next week to discuss this, what sounds like it's going to be a crazy episode 3.
I'm excited to see it.
Yeah. So, all right. Thanks for listening, friends. Thanks for all the reviews. And again, go check out the YouTube page there. We're posting a lot of vids. We got some long form vids coming this summer as well, too. And check out the video version. I'm probably still sweating over on the video version over on Spotify.
I'm trying to stifle all my yawns. I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry, guys. It's late. We're going to do about it. Anyways, yeah, that's it. The stew is strong. And as always, may the Force be with you.
It's over, Commander.
Did you hear that?
Don't underestimate the Force.